Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to another Cozy Cora video. Today you'll be getting an autistic person's headphone review once again. A year ago I made this video where I compared my brand spanking new Sony XM4s to my Soundcore Life Q30 headphones. My conclusion in that video was that the Sony headphones are way overpriced, but unfortunately still way better than the budget option. So if you have the money, it's worth spending. If you don't have the money, maybe save up. Unfortunately, today I'll be sharing my gripes with these XM4s after a year of consistently using them every single day. I will also be comparing them to the new Sony CH720Ns, which I think is Sony's budget option as compared to the last video where Soundcore is just a completely different brand of headphones. So now the comparison will be a little bit more comparable, I guess. First of all, I want to say that the XM4s have held up very, very well. I mean, compared to the Q30s, after 1 year of consistent use, they still look basically brand new. There's some discoloration on the inside of the cups, as well as noticeable cracking in the pleather. But for a full 365 days a year of consistent use in every weather and my incessant clumsiness, they're very good. I mean, like, I step on these constantly, not on purpose, but just because I'm stupid. The insides, however, are not holding up as well. They still charge and hold their battery as well as they did on day one. My issue is with the noise cancelling. Just like with the Q30s, sometimes they overuse the noise cancelling white noise way too much, so instead of cancelling out the noise outside, they just create a bunch of noise that starts to bother me instead of create some sort of alleviation. It's very stupid and I don't know what the problem is. Usually it goes away if I just turn them off and let them be off for a little bit. I've also noticed occasional metal rattling in the left ear. I'm assuming that something has broken off and is just moving around as they jostle as I move or walk or something like that. I don't really know what the problem is and I don't know how to fix it. It doesn't bother me enough to try to break them apart and put them back together. I'm a consumer, not a technician or whatever. So I'm just gonna leave it for now until I find headphones that are good enough to replace these ones. I don't think that the audio quality has gotten any worse compared to when I got them, but it's very hard to compare what it sounds like now to my memory of what it sounded like a year ago. The app hasn't changed significantly and I very rarely use it. That's kind of all I have to say about the 1 year update on the headphones. If you have any inquiries, you can either ask in the comments or watch my original video. I think all the information would be there. The CH7s cost about a third of the XM4s, but let's discuss if they're worth the price. I'm gonna start talking about what I like about the CH7s. The fact that they are much cheaper is amazing, and I really think that Sony should focus more on budget options. I think that trying to make them cheaper forces the company to make a lot of changes that I really, really like. For example, they removed the touch feature, which I absolutely hate on the XM4s. Sure, it's futuristic, sure, it's cool, but it's very inconvenient. I hate the noises it makes. Instead, they use tactile buttons like God intended. The stupid control noises are also gone, and honestly, like, it's horrendous how bad the noises are in the XM4s. My sister calls me overdramatic, but I'm allowed to be overdramatic. That's what the point of this review is. The autistic perspective, the autistic experience is going to be nitpicky, so I'm going to nitpick. The CH7s are also made from a cheaper plastic, which makes them lighter. I don't really think this is 100% positive, because if you accidentally touch the headphones, you can hear how cheap the plastic is. And when you press the buttons, you can feel and hear the cheapness of the plastic. But I think that it still makes up for it in the fact that it makes the headphones cheaper and it makes the headphones lightweight. So I feel like it's a net neutral, Now to the tragedy. They don't cancel out noise. The CH7s should not be allowed to be called noise cancelling headphones, because gas station earbuds would cancel out more noise than these do. The audio quality is terrible too. Honestly, it's crazy to me how they can have the software to create the XM4s and still create something so terrible as the CH7s. And like I said before, obviously if you're making a cheaper product, you're gonna have to cut costs. And a lot of the cost cutting I appreciate. I appreciate that they removed the touch features. I appreciate that they use cheaper plastic. But you can't remove the very feature of a headphone, which is listening to stuff and not listening to the outside. You have to have those features, and those features have to be good for me to want to use the product. It doesn't really matter if they're cheaper if I can't use them, I can't justify this kind of cost cutting. Some other things that bother me is the fit. I don't understand why they're so round. I feel kind of stupid wearing them, honestly. They come in pink though, which I really appreciate, and it makes up for a lot of it. I don't really wear them out at all, both because they don't work as headphones and because I just feel like they don't look good if I were to wear them. There's never an opportunity, never a reason for me to put these on. And it really is too bad because they're pink, they removed the touch, they removed the awful control noises. They're lightweight, they're more comfortable, they're better in almost every way than the XM4s because they were made cheaper, but then they ruined it by not making them usable as headphones. So, the Q30s, even though they broke very quickly, I would still prefer to use them over the CH7s because the CH7s they're not functional at all. And still the Q30s are cheaper than the CH7s, so there's no point in brand loyalty when the brand isn't loyal to its consumer. What the fuck, Sony? Make good headphones, please. And maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe I've gotten used to the XM4s, and so when I test something of lower quality, I'm like, oh, okay, this sucks ass, because I'm so used to the XM4 level. But I don't know, I don't think there should be such a jump in quality, especially since the CH7s are newer. I mean, I know that they're cheaper, I know that they're a budget option, but something that comes out years later should be years better, not worse, I have expectations. And I think that's valid. I don't think that's me being spoiled. I think that's I think my complaints are valid. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine, and I would love to hear your opinion, but this is my video, so I'm only going to be talking about my perspective, but of course I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments below. If you have any gripes with any other headphones, or if you have any recommendations of good headphones, please let me know about that as well. Clearly, I need recommendations of cheaper alternatives. I really want to replace my XM4s because they are getting old, and like I said, even though they're holding up well for like the torture I put them through, I'm gonna have to replace them eventually, and I would love to be able to replace them with something cheaper. And I would like to know what to replace them with because I haven't been able to find a good alternative. Please help me out here and give me your recommendations. Other than that, thank you so much for spending time with me and listening to me ramble, as I tend to do. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, night, or evening whenever you are watching this. Always remember that you are loved and you are worth good products. The brands have no reason to hold out on us like this. And always remember that you are loved. Especially, I just want to say before I end the video, in this political fucking turmoil of a climate, but remember that for every person who curses your existence, there are 100 people who feel blessed to be in your presence. I promise you, you are loved. Bye bye.